Evening, folks. Welcome to Adam Matic TV. The day after the nightmare show, I've just finished watching a quality game of football. That was Norwich against Burnley. Oh, there was another game. That game was better than ours, everybody. Trust me. Oh, my God. But yes, hello, everyone. We're here for therapy. We're here to talk about what is going on with United right now. And obviously, there's a lot to talk about. A lot went on yesterday at Goodison Park. I was there myself. I'll put my side across first when we get started. But first of all, so I welcome the guests on today. We brought on the Ajax point of view for our Ten Hag sort of chats, living there right now in Amsterdam. Dave, how you doing, mate? Good weekend
I'm good,
so
man.
far? Forget about the football. It's been a good weekend past that.
Yeah, man. I went to see Ajax last night. We played a brilliant second half, so no problems.
Coming from behind again, it's a trait, isn't it, mate, that? But I mean, how many? It was. Is it right at the 5 clear, or has it gone more from last night's result?
Sorry,
5 clear at the top now, Ajax, or has it gone more after last night?
Well, they were 5, but I didn't see PSV's result yet, so it could still be 5.
Yeah, getting closer and closer. Side mate, you're glad you didn't go yesterday, mate. Trust me.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you, man. It's getting difficult watching United, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just difficult, mate. You know, the fan base have had enough.
Big time. We'll get into that as well.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But like I said to you, disgrace yesterday, man. Everton, man. 2 wins in the last 10, I think, or 12. I don't know what.
1 win in 8, mate. 1 win in 8.
1 win in 8. Yep, there you go.
No, it's 2
and
in
they played
9.
on Wednesday. Yeah. And they played on Wednesday as well to make it even more kind of, you know. Well, that's our club, man. But yeah, other than that, I'm good. Just watched the Liverpool Man City game. Yeah. We're about 10 years behind that, but it is what it is.
Sadly, they are facts, mate. They are facts. Anyone who just wanted to know, I'm just going to show this actually right now. Just excuse me a second, lads. This right here, look at this. How nice does that look? Ooh. Yeah, that is actually in Old Trafford right now, guys. You can actually stay in a hotel room done by the Marriott, which has now been put up as, I don't even know how much it's going to cost you, but just to show you exactly, that was sort of spreading around sort of media outlets as United were walking off that pitch.
Priorities
yesterday. Yeah, they know the timings are absolutely bang on. It's just, we'll get into it anyway. But Syed, I'm going to come to you first, mate. First of all, I mean, I just want, we all know and we've all got our opinions on what happened yesterday, and we've all made it very clear, but I wanted you to just comment on what David De Gea said yesterday, because that was, I mean, Ranić was quite condemning, but David De Gea, who was, in fact, guys, one of the players that did come over to the fans, he's probably the only one who's not scared to come over to the fans because he has actually done a shift this season. But his comments yesterday, say, did you see David De Gea's comments yesterday?
Yeah, I did, mate. I did, man. Again, he's the always one that kind of says it how it is, which, you know, got him taken off the armband. I remember game against Newcastle. I couldn't remember what game it was, but you know, there was a game where he came out and he just said it how it is, and then was taken off the armband by Ollie. You know what I mean? He's right, man. It is a shambles. It is a disgrace. You know what? Like he said, it's not good enough. He keeps saying it all the time. He talked about the creative midfielders. I don't know if you've seen that point. He goes, you know, the creative guys didn't do enough. We didn't work hard enough. They played on Wednesday, he said, and they still worked hard enough. So I genuinely believe, man, if we had more David De Gea's in that dressing room, maybe we'd be a better team, because some of them just don't care, and some of them just see it as a way of just making enough money from United. They don't really care, to be honest with you. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of players, there's a lot of prima donnas. I said it on my match reaction, a lot of prima donnas, a lot of players that think they're better than what they are, and we've just not been able to kind of ship them out. And we're keeping them in, you know what I mean? And that's the problem. We keep rewarding failure. And it's every single time we keep doing that. Oh, you know what? He's had 10 good games. Let's reward him with a contract. No, you're supposed to do it over a span of 2-3 years. Then you get given certain things. Then you get rewarded with bonuses. But we haven't won anything, and we still keep giving out contracts. And I just feel like, for me, certain players that experience still not good enough. Players that have been bought for money, 50 million. Wan-Bissaka not good enough for Man United level. You know, Tellez not good enough. Maguire captain. putting his arm behind his back. Go out there, do a Vidic and put your head in that, do something. I just feel like for me, we're just, unless we get rid of what's happening in-house and we sort out the players going out. I mean, what is Ten Hag gonna do? He can't solve this mess. He can't, raise a magic wand and everything's gonna be disappearing. Man United gonna be back. Look at Liverpool and Klopp. Look at the way he had to take out all them players from Brendan Rodgers' era and then start again. Guardiola the same. Okay, he spent money, but we spent money. So why we have not done that? So we spent more. So we should be able to do that, but we don't, because it's all about, the Glazeonomics is that, you keep these kind of players and it looks good, and then you don't buy any more that can be good as well. And they try and do that. And you know what? They invest in a player for the next 10 years. So they know Wan-Bissaka's going to be here for the next 10 years. But is he good enough to be here for the next 10 years? No. So
well, this is it. I mean, Dave, from your point of view there, looking at it and watching the game from over there in Amsterdam, it was quite clear as soon as Everton got that goal from where I was sat pitch side that then players, the bottles went, their asses fell out basically. And that's where the fans sort of picked up on it. Someone's actually put a signpost outside Carrington training grounds this morning along the lines of, don't bother, you gutless bunch of overpaid whatnots. So that is being cable tied to the post outside the entrance to the Carrington training ground this morning. Graham, who comes to a few games, he's on a few fan vlogs on United Stand with me, was stood next to me in the game. He said, was it as bad as this outside Watford, i.e. at the end of the game, the fans' reaction? I went, it was pretty dire, but in a different sort of way. This was aimed purely at every single man in a red shirt coming off. You can see why, though, Dave, can't you? Just watching it from afar as well, why they got the reaction that they did.
It has come to the point now where I genuinely, I'm not even excited every week. I'm not looking forward to it. I watch it just because I'm kind of morbidly interested in how they're going to muck it up this week. And then inevitably they do. And it's also it's morbid, but it's kind of like, oh, well, that was interesting. At least it's interesting. But there's no hope. There's no integrity in this side. And it really is top down all the way from the top of the club. The people who own this club and operate this club care about one thing. And so the people they hire also care about one thing. And the people that those guys hire also only care about one thing. And that goes all the way down to the players. Adam, you run a business. You have morals and ethics and values about your business. And the people you hire, you instill that in them. And it goes all the way to the bottom. And that's what you're looking at now. You're looking at a situation where it doesn't matter if you get Ten Hag. It doesn't matter if it's Poch. Nothing will change this because it comes all the way from the top.
On that, mate, I agree with that filtering down system. Do you feel like the players are now fed up because they are the whipping boys for this system? They're the ones who are having to front up to fans. Obviously, the powers that be don't have anything to deal with. They never will. And I think the players now are realising, look, oh yeah, it's great collecting these big wages. The biggest wage bill in European football that Manchester United is. It's great. But they can't handle what stick's coming their way. They're taking the stick for what you just described and years of that accumulating, Dave, really now. But themselves, really, self-pride has to come into it as well, surely, in this, because a lot of them players are really now. You can say they're not good enough, but this was a team, the worst team in Everton's Premier League history in terms of form. This is an Everton team, like Saeed said, with one winning 8 games, sorry. And for me, some of them players, as much as the fault is upstairs, and that is the bigger picture, we're going to get onto that as well. But for that game just yesterday, Dave, my God, some of these players are just like the word disgrace comes out everywhere in everyone's comments. I totally agree with it.
See, I think it's kind of that, but I think there's actually a bigger component to it. We're talking about children. Like, these kids are kids. Let's remember that, right? And they are not growing up the same way that we all grew up. They have their Twitters and their Instagrams, and they see everything. For us to sit here and say, oh, well, the players shouldn't be affected by what they see on Instagram, that's a nice sentiment, but I think it's a little unrealistic sometimes. Like, remember, they're kids, right? How old is Marcus Rashford? And what did you and I and Said, how did we behave when we were that age, right? They're kids. And they get affected by this stuff, and then they get these giant wage packets, and it all goes to their head, and they think they are that good. They genuinely believe that they're worth it, and they earned it, and they are that good. And then when it comes time to face the pressure, they just crumble because they're not that good. And so, part of it is what you're saying, but you understand what I mean? Like, part of it is also that they're as shocked as we are that, oh my God, where's the results? I thought I was that good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Said on that there, it's like, how far down the table and how many defeats do these guys need to actually take to realize that not one of them Liverpool or City players is on what half of our first team squad is. Do you know what I mean? These are the guys. How many games and when is the penny going to drop? When are they going to realize? Like Dave said, they think they're doing okay, but 7th in the table, mate. The only reason we're there is because the likes of Arsenal, Wolves, West Ham are all slipping up around us. It's a false position in the league. And I said yesterday,
last season as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry on this, mate. I said yesterday, come summer, Newcastle will be ahead of us. And the guy next to me said, yeah, well, Newcastle's still got quite a way to go yet. I went, no, hang on a minute. United going into this summer are a mid-table team. I think Newcastle are there now because they've had to do all the catching up. So there's another team that's already ahead of us. Let's forget the top 4. They're already ahead of us. So that leaves us starting in 6th best team in the league. So let's say Villa start to invest like they can do.
And they're going to.
Wolves are going to get better and better. These teams, mate, I don't think the realization is creeping in because United are going to have to spend an astronomical amount of money with the amount of players that's already leaving. Is that the problem, mate? That half of them are actually now already out and gone? Have they checked out mind-wise? Because I looked at Pogba when he came on yesterday, and he took dog's abuse. And people will try and spin it, but his performance is shit, mate. I'm not going to lie.
No, listen, mate. He's checked out. I said it last week. I feel like he's been checked out for a while. When last week, when Mendy out-jumped him, that the warning signs were there for me. I just knew. So that's why I'm not expecting anything from Pogba for the rest of the season. And people might say, well, you should expect. But most of these guys, they've just checked out, and they're on the beaches. I don't get this bit where, United start to say game mode and then they're all doing this fist pumps. I don't know if you've seen it, Adam, in front of you, but the way Matic is Ronaldo throws the gloves at the fans and they're all fist pumping each other saying, come on, let's get into the game. No, you're just doing it for the cameras, mate. You're just doing it for the show. You know what I mean? And I don't like, when Ragnick talks about training ground Rashford and all that, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear it. But again, maybe Ragnick's trying to give us something to kind of believe in. Maybe something to kind of say, you know what, to the fans, Rashford has been performing in training ground, but you can't replicate it on the pitch. I mean, like I said to you, Adam, I just feel like for me, it's all for me coming down towards the end of the season where I just feel like, you know what, maybe they do deserve to be in the Europa League. Why is United fans wanting to finish outside of it? They deserve to finish in the Europa League and play Thursday night football because that's what they give us. You know what I mean? They don't deserve to be playing once a week because, again, the new manager comes in, he needs to understand what he's going to work with. Once a week football for these players, it's going to be even too much for them because the amount of training they're going to be able to do under Ten Hag, the amount of strenuous training, if Ten Hag comes, by the way, we have to say if because he's demanding a lot at the minute and I don't think he can come. But for me, yesterday was a disgrace. Second half, mate, was an absolute disgrace, mate. Even probably the first half tail towards the end of the first half, but second half, it never happened. It never really happened. I mean, I can't believe it, Adam, but you're seeing Richarlison do keepy uppits with his head, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's
an
absolute joke.
I think that'll come up a few times, but if I was a United player and Richarlison is there doing head-ups, keepy-ups, this is a team that are balancing with relegation right now. Richarlison goes into the crowd. If I'm playing that game, sorry, mate, into the crowd you go. Ball, man, one or the other, you're gone. You do not. And we just went, oh, go on then. Let's just sit. There you go. There's one for Sports Saturday on Sky, whatever it is, the showboating.
The showboating one. Yeah.
There's a standoff him. I'm Wan-Bissaka. I'm like, man, you like a tackle, don't you? Get in there and put that man into the bleeding crowd.
Yeah.
He's taking the piss out of you, and you're just standing there, letting him do it in front. There's the mindset right there. I mean, Dave, what warranted Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming into that team yesterday? Has Ralph got to take some blame for this as well, mate? Because I could not, for the life of me, figure out why. And all of a sudden, Sancho goes out on the right with him. Two of them that never played together. And now Sancho goes on the right with probably the worst fullback to link up with in our team. I'm like, fuck, land to the slaughter or what, Sancho? And undoubtedly, he had a shit game as well, mate. I sort of half got a bit of sympathy for Sancho in the way that he got switched around and got given Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but Ralph's got to take a little bit of the blame for that starting lineup, surely, mate, as well, because full squad, a full week off, no need to rest, mate.
No,
got that many games.
What you're saying isn't wrong, of course, but it's also a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Ralph. He's tried it all at this point, right? I mean, he came into a horrible situation, and he's tried pretty much everything. We've all seen it, right? We've seen the kind of change in the tactics. We've seen the kind of changes in the lineups. We've seen guys in position here, guys in position here, guys out of position. And now you layer on top of that the fact that half the side is checked out. What is he to do? You know what I mean? Because that's the part that we don't see is what goes on the training pitch in Carrington and who's really up for it and who's not week to week. And I feel like that's probably playing a role too.
I mean, on Ralph's comments after the game as well, though, Dave, saying that these players do not deserve to be playing Champions League football. He's throwing them under the bus as well. Like you said there, he's tried everything, and I agree with that. He has tried everything. He's thrown every single system, style, player combination, everything, hoping that something would work. And literally every single one of them have just thrown them straight back at him. So, I mean, his comments were bang on after the game as well, weren't they?
No, a year ago we were on this channel and we're talking about, well, does Ollie need to go? Should Ollie be given the chance? Blah, 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 blah. And I think we all kind of came to the point where it was like, okay, well, this is untenable. Whether we like the guy or not, it just became an untenable situation. And as much as I bang the drum of it doesn't matter who the manager is, you're still going to experience these issues because it's an endemic problem at the club and not really a managerial issue. You have to respect Ralph for coming in and just saying it like it is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I look at it that way. It's easy to go and look at it and say, oh, well, he's thrown them under the bus. I think he's just being honest. And to me, that's better than the alternative in the situation that we're in.
I mean, Said, I know you're happy with the way Ralph is. I mean, yeah, results are what this, and people on social media saying it's the worst manager and so. But honestly, the work that he's done in sort of exposing this team and this football club is probably the best work we've seen from any manager since Sir Alex Ferguson.
100%, because a lot of people, I think what he did with the Mata substitution is very clever. He's thinking, why should I bring on Jesse Lingard when he didn't want to be here? You know what I mean? And he's got no kind of he's literally telling the board, listen, this is what I've got to work with. I'm having to bring on Mata and Elanga, you know what I mean, for a reason. And you know what? There's part of me as well that thinks that Fletcher is blocking any youngsters from coming on as well, because you've got to realize it. Yeah, why have these youngsters not been allowed to come on? Why have we not brought on Eddie McNeil? Why have we not brought on Hannibal on? I feel like maybe Fletcher has blocked it and said, you know what? Now they've got to focus on that one, and you guys have got to focus on the first team. So Ralph, your job is to go on focus on the first team. I think there's something going on there. I've been watching it closely because I'm just thinking to myself, why can't these players go and play? They're better than what we've got now. Like seriously, Can McNeil not do better than up front than what Ronaldo's doing? Ronaldo's not even doing anything. What's he doing? So I just look at it. I think, there's something going on. Everybody's got a say in everything, and I feel like for me, Rangnick has done the best he can. But a lot of people, there's a lot of revisionists going on where, look what Ollie's second and this and that, and I'm like, chill out, people. It was a false position. Like this year, Adam, when you talked about false position being, we're only 6 points behind Tottenham. Is it 6 points behind Tottenham now? There's a false. If Wolves and West Ham, if Wolves and West Ham were any better than what they are now, which I still think they're having a good season, by the way. But if they had anything about them, they'd be overtaken by United. Arsenal have had so many opportunities to strengthen their position on fourth, and they've not done that. So, at the end of the day, what you got to realize is that Ralph Rangnick is doing the best of what he got, but the situation's been brought in. It's been absolutely horrendous. Leaks, players not wanting to train, they don't want to press anymore. They're not. Notice one thing that Ralph Rangnick asks and his philosophy is based on is his pressing, and still they can't do that. Still, mate, it's an absolute joke.
They can't be bothered, man. They just can't be bothered.
No, they can't. Shows. One thing that came up yesterday, and you've seen the stats and the running stats. Bruno got a lot of stick again. I thought it was unfair again on Bruno yesterday for the stick he was taking the brunt of it. But he was top 5 players. You won't be surprised in terms of the amount of miles put in. 4 of them were Everton players. Second on that chart, Bruno Fernandes, just under 12K the man run yesterday. Need effort, but when there's only one man doing it,
isn't it? They ran 10K more than us.
Yeah, and that shows you everything. This is a team, like you said, Saeed, played in the week. David De Gea picked up on that. He said we knew they played in the week. They were nervous and they were tired. We could tell, and this was at 1-0.
Yeah.
And then literally after that goal went in, Everton just ran the whole last 2/3 of that game on adrenaline alone. And we just couldn't handle the energy. They didn't create nothing. I can't remember a significant save that David De Gea had to make. But let's be fair, mate. We couldn't get anywhere near what's the name? Pickford in the second half, Dave. And that shows you there, doesn't it? It's like there's got to be a willing to actually try and get back in the game. It wasn't there.
Human beings hate realizing that they're wrong. That's human nature for all of us, right? And those of us with a level of maturity can pragmatically look at it and say, oh, I was wrong. Okay, fair enough. Moving on. These kids have all been shown that they're wrong about themselves. And that hurts for anybody. But the way that they've reacted to that is a disgrace. And I don't think that there's any hiding from it anymore. And I think that's what you're seeing on the pitch now. That they've realized that they were wrong about themselves. I remember when I was in high school, this is a funny story, actually. I remember when I was in high school, I was on the wrestling team. And I felt so proud every day going home. I'm a starter on the wrestling team for my high school. I was terrible. I think I won 1 match. And you look back at it now and it's like, oh, well, just being the starter doesn't mean anything really if you're not that good. And so you have a situation now where Harry Maguire goes home every night and he's like, well, I'm getting paid this much. I'm the captain of Manchester United. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything because you're just crap. So you could tell yourself, oh, yeah, I'm the captain. I'm this, I'm that. And I can see it in their eyes. I see it in their faces. That's where we're at now, guys.
This is it, mate.
But you know that comment you made there about Pickford. Michael Keane has been absolutely slammed by the Everton fans. They said, Mike came on my channel from Blues Boys Network, and he said to me that Mike Keane is a championship level defender, and I went, wow, so we could get at him. Little did he know that he got a clean sheet against Man United. Clean sheet.
First clean sheet Lampard's had, I think.
Yep.
If I'm not wrong, I can't remember if he got one against Leeds, but
why do we always do this, Adam? Give players a boost. We do this every single time.
Roll over and have our bellies tickled, mate. That's what we do. It's like everyone's there. Oh, Everton have got the toughest running going. I looked at it, I went, the first game they've got is United. And believe me, if they're going to get any points, probably going to be there. I went with a draw yesterday. I didn't see United winning. I went with a draw. Couldn't even get that. And I said it yesterday, Saeed, mate. I went, okay, break it down. Them bottom 4 teams in the league, right now, we've only managed to beat one of them away from home. And we haven't scored more than one game. Well, we haven't scored more than one goal in any of them games away from home against the bottom 4 teams in the league.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, Everton and Watford alone have taken 4 points off United this season.
Mate, it's crazy. Wow. You know, I remember the 1-1, they should have nicked it, Everton. I remember Davies, if he had it about him, he would have nicked it.
Could have been an Everton double.
Yeah, Everton double. Norwich game, I thought we're lucky to even get the win. Absolutely lucky. Newcastle, you know what I mean? Obviously, Burnley as well. You know, you know what, man? I just feel like for me, you know, the season is petering out. And I just feel like for me, even Norwich next week, they've won today 2-0. They're thinking, you know what? We could get 3 points at Old Trafford. The best time to ever get 3 points at Old Trafford is next week. You know what I mean?
They've been and done it before, mate. They've been and done it before.
Yeah, they've done it a couple of times. You know, they've got decent draws, decent wins. You know, and I look at United and I just feel like for me, like, you know, there's no why for the minute. The players have got no why. And I feel like, you know, there's no self-improvement from themselves. You know, they're all looking to get mega deals from the club. They're in control, really, when you look at it, because Man United have got to keep assets. That's why they've given Bruno Fernandes a new contract. Nobody's looking to go and get Bruno Fernandes. But you know what? United protecting their assets, giving him a 3-year contract. And for me, I'm getting disappointed in Bruno Fernandes. I know a lot of people say he's been our best player for the last 2 years, but there's no willingness for him anymore. He's starting to lose a bit of spark. You know, the midfield around him now, everybody's injured now. Everybody's going out. It's like there's just no feel that nobody wants to actually play for Man United. Like it's not.
Well, this is
actually not.
This is what I mean. He has been the best player for the last 2 years, but he's been the best player on a really, really, really bad team. So what does it really mean to say, oh, you've been the best player for Manchester United? Okay, he's been the best player for Bristol City.
Do you know what?
What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything.
Even scarier, he's still been the best player this season. And that shows you exactly.
And there you go.
And that's how bad we are, because he has been poor for his standards that he said. But like you said, now it's like this ever-changing team, the midfield with zero cohesion. There's nothing settled in this team. We don't know who's going to play week in, week out in that midfield. It could be any one of the combinations. I was happy to see McTominay not in that team yesterday. Matic came in, awful. I thought, oh, God, Matic, I've been bigging you up. And he was crap. He was crap as well. I was just like, when Fred went off, I think it was Graham again.
Crazy, isn't it?
We lost control of the game when Fred went off yesterday. I know. I was like, oh,
I did say that. And that's crazy in itself. But he has been the sort of player that's been playing well last couple of games, even though we kind of just making it look like it's something big. But again, you know, like you know, that's the problem though, that nobody's actually playing well now, and that is a worrying sign, because we've got. I think, you know, the Norwich game for me, I always think it's just almost like there's no point of that game. You know why I say that? Because we've got Liverpool and Arsenal straight after that. So you get the Norwich result, you can say, right, 3 points, but then the next 2, you're back down deflated. So there's actually no point even like have emotion right now at United. There's actually none. A lot of the fans feel apathy. They just feel like, you know what is the point anymore? And that's how the fans feel. Every single fan I spoke to, and right now, on social media, or whether it's like just face-to-face interaction, they've had enough. And you, Adam, might have seen the worst of the lot. Your video, mate, that was a disgrace, mate. You know, the way they walked off the pitch. Yeah. And didn't even come. Like, you know what? Like, it's just, for me, it's disgraceful, man. Like, they don't deserve your support. They really don't, man.
That's it. I mean, the lucky thing is now, and I tweeted this out earlier on today as well on a post, that the Manchester Evening News used my video and clipped it and put it on their website. The best thing about it all is there's nowhere for these players to hide now, because the media are pretty much on the same wavelength as the fans. The media are using the fans just to enhance what they're saying. So I've seen no bull. I've seen no one sort of fluffing anything up or sugarcoating anything in the media. I've done a lot of reading and read through a lot of match reports from different outlets and medias from all over this country and abroad, and they're all on the same page. Here's literally everyone is flabbergasted at how atrocious this team is, and that attitude is what is the main thing that comes out of it every single time. Man, Ralph said it, Dave, in his press conference on Friday. We need to have the right attitude to go into this game. It left them as soon as the adversity hit them, mate. As soon as the goal went in, that attitude went, mate. And you got to say, looking at that team right now, and you're there over in Amsterdam, mate, Ten Hag coming in, is it going to change this team how it is right now, mate? I think, if anything, the playing staff needs changing before Ten Hag can even implement anything within this squad, because we've seen Ralf Rangnick come in, we've seen Mourinho, we've seen Van Gaal, we've seen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Everyone who's been in hasn't been able to get a tune out of these players. I think the thing we can take out of this silver lining wise, Dave, is the fact that it gives you the opportunity in the summer to do a reset. And it's probably the easiest time to say, look, we have to do something drastic this summer and change something, because there's no more paper, mate. The cracks are just there. They've run out of paper. They've run out of tracing paper. Everything that we've wanted to cover up these cracks over the last few years, it's all gone, mate. It's run out. And it's there. It's gaping now. It's like a canyon. There's no Band-Aid going to cover this up. And you know what? We've always said it. We just really, I don't think we're accepting the fact that we had to go through the shit to get there. But we're getting there, mate. We're falling as far as we can before a complete restructure happens. It's probably the only thing I would look as a positive from this season, Dave, because it's exposed everything this year, mate, hasn't it?
It has. And the only thing that we can all hope and pray for is that the owners see it that way. Because if the owners see it that way and they say, ooh, maybe we were wrong, maybe we need to put someone in charge of football who really knows about football, then it is the opportunity that you're talking about. But if they don't, and they decide to continue to operate the way they have operated since they've owned the club, it won't matter. Because they will still be in charge of handing out contracts and handing out the captaincy and keeping players who shouldn't be here. And, you know, we were saying before the show, I'm fairly confident at this point that that's why Ten Hag isn't official. I'm pretty sure that he's still negotiating with the club. And he has told the club, yes, I want to come, but in order for me to put pen to paper on that deal, you have to give me control over who comes in, who comes out, who's the playing staff, who's behind.
That has been reported, yeah, mate.
That I'm certain that that's all factually correct. Because he's a man of integrity, and I know that that's a really cliche thing to say, but it's really true. And you can ask anybody in the Ajax community. He's a good guy, and he's not going to take a leap like this for a paycheck. He's going to come to Manchester United because it's an opportunity for him to show that he's on the same level as Klopp. Exactly, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to. Yeah,
exactly. So
we need him more. Only way he does,
100%. Yeah. So the only way he does it is if he's given the same kind of control and authority that Klopp has, that Pep has, that Tuchel had. Well, we'll see what happens with that, but that's the deal. So
what do you make of that comment?
It comes back to the owners.
What do you guys make of the comment there from Sam? You know, RB Leipzig are trying to hack. We heard the reports today. My thing is, people can say don't worry, but Man United make you worry. It's not the fact that, you know, my own kind of emotion. It's the fact that Man United don't have the right structure to give Ten Hag. You know, like you talk yourself, David, there. They don't have the right structure. So what can they really offer him? They could just say, well, you're coming to Man United, mate. That's bigger than what you've ever done in your career. No.
But he sees right through that.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Exactly. He doesn't need to. You know, he knows Bayern Munich can always come around the corner. Barcelona, okay, they got Xavi now, but Real Madrid, all these clubs can come around at any single moment. You know, he's only 52. It's not as if he's 60 odd, he's 52. You know, he's still got a lot of time in his managerial career. And right now, at this minute, Man United are having to bend over for certain things. But Ten Hag's like, nah, mate, you got to give him what I want to do. And RB Leipzig are saying, listen, mate, we've got the right structure. And you know what? Wouldn't it be crazy if this actually happened, where Ralph Rangnick went back to RB Leipzig and then took Ten Hag with him? That would just sum up Man United as a whole if that happened. And it wouldn't surprise
perfect,
you.
wouldn't it, mate? It would be perfect, wouldn't it? The complete exposure that would bring, because Ralph leaving is bigger than 10 not coming in my opinion. That's big. That's huge.
No, I agree with that.
That is huge because, like you said, United can always tempt people in for what it is. But I completely agree with Dave, and I seen a report on this the other day in terms of there's only one reason why. Partly it's because I think they want to give respect to Ajax and let him finish the season, get the title done and dusted and whatnot. But biggest part of it behind the scenes is he needs assurances that he isn't going to ruin his career like a lot of managers have coming to Manchester United. Actually, let me say, apart from David Moyes, and we all seen how long it was for David Moyes to actually recover his career and get to the right club, but United will destroy you. It will absolutely destroy you because of what Dave says.
Players and coaches.
Top to bottom.
Players
Ten
and
Hag,
coaches.
I would say Ten Hag right now is negotiating transfer dealings, how much money, what he gets to decide in terms of the youth structure, and how much of his team can come in with him to Manchester United, because he is going to need as much help as he can get dealing with these. Because this is where I think it's fallen down for Ralph. I just don't think he's got a strong enough team and wasn't given the opportunity to bring in a strong enough team to handle this bunch of players. I really don't. And that's where you get the leaks of disrespect from the players and stuff like that, saying that they don't rate the coaching setup. It's dinosaur football. Well, it's all going to come in and change in the summer. And you know what? Even with the rumours coming out that the manager might be coming in, you'd have thought you'd have seen a bit more effort from these players. But they do not give a toss. They could not care. They couldn't give two flying F-bombs about who comes in as a new manager this summer. They really don't. And that, for me, is where the problem is. And that, for me, is what Saeed said, mixed with what Dave said. Ten Hag can change things, but as long as these assets are kept at the club, then they'll feel like they have some power. And any player that thinks he's got power, it's like the inmates running the asylum. It's basically what it is.
You know why, though?
Any player that thinks he's got a say in a club, that club is doomed. Simple. Yeah.
You know why, though? Well, you got to realise, though, Ten Hag's thinking, I've got get a lot of players out, but because of Glazonomics, they have to keep these players. You know, they can't just sell Wan-Bissaka and lose money. They can't. But that's down to you guys. You've made that mistake, so you're gonna have to rectify it. But he's thinking, no, you can work with Wan-Bissaka. You've got these players. He's like, no, I want to make this squad to this squad. Can you make this possible? I want control for this and I want control for that. I want to be able to take control of John Murtough because he's been here for how many years did you say? 2013. Oh yeah, he's only made the women's team. Is that all he's done? You know, he's done the youth team.
In terms of his previous role as a director, it's 1 year in now into his second year. So
yeah, okay, but still, he's thinking that control that you've had over there. You know what I mean? Like, I need someone better. Maybe he's probably thinking, I want the guy from Ajax to come. Who knows? I'm just trying to base it on why he's not happy with the terms that Man United have offered him. They're saying we've got a new Murtough, we've got Darren Fletcher who's working here, you've got Ralph Rangnick. So it's something that's kind of, you know, thought, you know what? I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with what you're offering me. I want to bring this person in. I want the medical staff to all go. Maybe he's thinking that the medical staff are not fit for purpose because of how many injuries we always get. You know, so there's a lot of things that are going to be placed in here that, you know, that Man United are going to like, and then they're going to say, you know what? Well, he's kind of right, but we can't offer him that. We can't offer him
you guys know that's by the way, in case everybody watching is not aware of this is a really American ownership strategy. You see it in the NFL all the time, where they hire a new head coach and they tell that head coach, well, we're going to keep these guys because they work really well in the dressing room, right? This is a known strategy for American owners. And I've said this in our group chats, and I've said this on this channel before. These owners will do things that British and European football fans find completely outside the scope of reality and possibilities and all of those things, they will do all of them, even though it will twist your brain into saying this couldn't possibly be true. It's all true. I promise you, because that's how they've always operated. That's how they run the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Quick question, actually, Dave, on that American sports ownership. Is there a difference in the way the Fenway Sports Group actually work? It looks like they invest. It looks like they invest within more than what the others do. Is that correct?
They invest more within. They also tend to hire someone and get out of their way, where they actually let people do their job. And so while,
hire the best in class.
Well, yeah, exactly. But we've seen it with Liverpool, right? Like, they don't spend the way the Glazers spend. Now, the Glazers are willing to do that because they have the Man United badge to put on everybody's shirt and make more money, and they're fine spending all of that money. But they spend it so inappropriately all the time because they think they know better. Fenway Sports Group is quite smart about the way they go about it, because even though they don't spend that same level of actual pounds, they'll hire a guy and say, oh, it's your job, we're getting out of your way. So they won't give them the same, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird dynamic because they don't have the same budget, but at United, the guys don't have the same budget because it's the board who's deciding who gets bought, right? Like, they're never since the Glazers have owned United, and I've said this before, and people say that can't possibly be true. Ollie didn't have a transfer budget. Mourinho didn't have a transfer budget. Van Gaal didn't have a transfer budget. The owners and the board are the ones deciding, well, we'll go for this guy, we won't go for this guy. And and every manager at United can come to the board and say, well, I think we should buy this guy, but they don't get the control over it. And until that changes, nothing will change.
That's it. I mean, the red flags are there already, Said, mate. Like we said, Bruno's new deal coming through with no permanent manager. Talks of Luke Shaw's and Fred's very close. In fact, Luke Shaw's, I think he's almost done from what I've read. Red flags, mate. There's no manager in place here, and that's not thinking for the next manager coming in
as well. Yeah,
and maybe
exactly.
Ten Hag's going to be looking at that as well. He has to be looking at it. I mean, he watches football. Fans watch football. The fans know what's going on. The fans can see the problems. Ten Hag will know from the outside where the problems lie and what the red flags are. And there's a few of them popping up right in front of his eyes, mate, that really could be making him think twice right now.
Yeah. And you know what it is as well? You got to realise that red flag there, especially with Luke Shaw, how can he build a team when he's always injured? You know what I mean? He's probably thinking, Luke Shaw, okay, you give him a new contract. Is he the first choice left back? Well, he's always injured, so how can I play with him? You know, and again, people say that's not Luke Shaw's fault, but again, it's the way that Man United is still giving a contract. So then that means United won't buy another left back because, again, they've got Tellers. So again, all these things you got to understand. There's a reason why he's thinking, hold on a minute, how is this working here? 50 million Wan-Bissaka, are you going to get rid of him, or are we going to play him? What's the situation? Well, he's got a big contract, so yeah, you're going to have to play him. Well, I can't do that because he doesn't know how to play from the back. He's not good on the ball. He's not you know, he's always caught out positionally. I mean, the first goal was a joke from Wan-Bissaka. I mean, if you look at him, it takes forever to get back to the right-hand side where he is. And then he doesn't sprint across to go and tackle him. I mean, he's always out of position as well. That's another thing as well. So all these little things, when you look at Ten Hag and Man United, it's actually not a fit, you know, when you actually look at it. We haven't got many technical players that can play the way he wants to do. I know Ralph Rangnick talk about technical players, but I just feel like genuinely he didn't want to disrespect any players there because obviously he's right there right now. But I genuinely think that United and Ten Hag are not a match made in heaven because the players are not there. So he's thinking, right, I need maybe 10 players coming in the summer. Maybe like he needs at least a window to kind of make sure there's players going out and there's players going in. To the point where maybe 3 or 4 years' time, he's got his team. Man United saying, no, you've got a team here, maybe 2 or 3 on top of what we've got here. We've got Ronaldo as well. People say Ten Hag for Ronaldo. I'm not sure. Look at what you're seeing today. Systems are key. Yotto and Sterling playing up from the front, chasing everything around. They run. Ronaldo can't do that anymore. What can Ten Hag do? So it's, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult.
To be fair, the way that Ten Hag uses Haller, Haller doesn't do a lot of running in this Ajax side. You know, he holds the ball up kind of at the top of the box, barely ever gets back to the halfway line. So I think that there's a way that Ten Hag could really utilize Ronaldo in a way that we're not seeing right now. The problem is that if you have a strategy and you have a system that you want to play, and if you want to make donuts, but the owner's giving you corn, you ain't making any donuts, are you?
Like this it, mate. On that Ronaldo side of things there, you want Ten Hag if he comes in to get the best possible start, but a figure like Ronaldo isn't going to do a Haller role. He won't do it. He'll want to be more involved in the game. This is what we're seeing now with him. He's all over the place at the moment. I'm looking at him the other day, yesterday. He was like, he's no one in the box. Where's the focal point? Ronaldo, it worked against Tottenham because Tottenham were prepared to deal with Ronaldo's graveyard shift with him stuck up front, and they couldn't pick him up. And he was found in spaces all over the place. But against a team like Everton, who literally are dead on their feet and we're going to just sit in and be as tight as possible, not like what Spurs were, it's going to be impossible. And that Haller will listen to Ten Hag, I think. Whereas Ronaldo, where the problem is for me, I don't think Ronaldo would be disciplined to do a graveyard shift, having to rely on the shit that's around him to get the ball to him. And that's why he's drifting now. That's still not Ronaldo's fault. I just think that he needs to be involved more because I don't think he can trust the rest of the team around him for his own standards in his head. I don't think.
Well, that's the problem.
I think he realizes now. He realizes now that the team is not good enough. So
that's the problem, right? Because if Ten Hag comes in and he's given the control to build the right squad, I don't think you have a problem with Ronaldo because Ronaldo knows that his legs are gone, right? He can't run the way he used to run, and he knows that. And so I don't know that you really have that issue, again, provided Ten Hag can put the pieces around him. And if Ronaldo wants to play another 2 or 3 years at Old Trafford and just get service into the box and bang in goals, I don't know that he's got an issue with that. I think that what you're seeing from Ronaldo now is pulling back and trying to find spaces in midfield. It's because he knows that everything around him is crap.
I mean, Said, mate, one thing that Ten Hag would have to do is install... he's going to have to install a culture within this football team.
That's the biggest thing,
One that appreciates the fans no matter what. Build the relationship back up and actually get the fans back on song, because I hardly heard anything coming from the United end yesterday, and it's very rare that you get a quiet United away end. I mean, I was there when we were getting smashed 4-0 by Everton in the same fixture a few years ago, when we were louder than the Everton fans. We were getting beat 4-0 and we were singing yesterday. The game was on a knife edge. They weren't getting any support because they didn't see anything back. He needs to install that culture. And I just believe that the only way, and I'll keep going back to it, the only way he is going to do that is if them big players are gone. The ego players are gone, mate. There's no way. I just think, for me, straight away, I think Ten Hag would come into United without Rashford, Ronaldo, Pogba, Lingard, just them four. Biggest names in our football club, social media wise, stature wise. If we didn't have them in our club, I guarantee you would finish higher than with them in our club. And some would say they are some of the best players that the Premier League has seen. But I believe that Ten Hag's system, like Dave said, would benefit without that type of player. It's a system manager. He uses systems. He's idolized Pep Guardiola. He's worked with Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich. He worships him, and he plays a similar attacking style football. It's the Johan Cruyff. We'll score one more than you. I don't see, and like Dave just said then, he's just seen another game of Ajax at weekend yesterday where they've had to come from behind. It doesn't matter if they're behind. They keep on going. This team right now, the mentality of it, won't do that for him, and it will make him look bad. And I guarantee, like Dave said, there'll be an element of that he's looking at right now, because the rumours have come out. The players will know that Ten Hag is on the cusp, maybe, and then we get that yesterday. They don't care what's happening in the summer, and that's the biggest problem he's going to have, mate. It's going to be that bigger bridge to cross, because I just don't see it with this squad, mate. I give up on this team like a lot of United fans, which is pretty much where we're at with this title of this video. No manager coming in is going to change this lot. Who? Yeah, we bought a sports psychologist in, apparently, Saeed.
Well, listen, mate, I don't know what he's doing.
We've gone worse
I
since
don't
he's
know.
come in.
Yeah, I don't know if he's scaring players, mate. It's like the Riddler in the Batman. You know what I mean? For those that have not watched it, make sure you watch it.
Let's not get onto the set piece coach either, mate.
Yeah.
We?
Oh my days, mate. It's crazy. It's crazy. But like I said
culture,
to you,
mate. Culture, innit?
Yeah, the culture, mate, is really, really bad. And you know what? Pogba will leave. I think Jesse Lingard has to leave because there's a reason why Ragnick hasn't allowed him to play a minute. There must be something where he's seen in him that he's thought, nah.
Exposing the football club, mate.
Yep, again, exactly. Ronaldo, I think for me, there's a lot of fans who are still praying that Ronaldo turns up. I just feel like for me, you know what it is, right? Like, I respect what Ronaldo has done for so many years, but I'm just to the point where I'm kind of past it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just want a team where the system is what sets them, to be an animal. I want us to be a fluid team. I don't want us to be not a fluid team because then Ronaldo is at the end of it and we can't find him and he can't stretch the defense. He can't run around a lot. I just want us to be a team, madam, like he said. And I feel like if it's a young team, I'm going to get behind it for 2-3 years. I will, because I know that they're going to be trying things. They're going to be trying patterns of play. There's going to be energy. There's going to be a feeling like, you know what, we can upset the odds. We can believe in them. Fans will believe in a young team, a progressive team, a team that's attacking. We might concede 2, but we win 4-2. Games that's why Jurgen Klopp did so well at Liverpool, because they believed in what he did. You know what I mean? They believed in the project, and I feel like United, the fans haven't believed in any project, and that's a problem. We've never ever been able to believe in a project. Never. You know what I mean? And again and again, it's the fans that always left to kind of like, you know what, you guys can take that. You know what, season tickets early, this and that early.
It's been the same project. There isn't a project. It's been the same project since exactly. There was no different project when Mourinho was here, when Van Gaal was here. None of it. And I'm going to say this on the record, and I don't think I've said this before. Any single one of the managers who have been in charge under the Glazers, every single one of them could have had success here if they were given the control that they needed to build their side. None of them have had that opportunity. Not one of them. They're given players by the board that they don't want and told to make it work. Well, that's not going to work. It's never going to work. And they just keep running the same play over and over and over and over and over again.
I mean, on this, Dave, now, there is a little bit of a change that may be enforced, actually, with UEFA's new, the replacement to financial fair play. It's going to take a few years to implement, but 60% of your, I can't the exact out turnover, earnings, whatever it may be, is what you're allowed to spend in the transfer market. Reportedly, right now, with the way United are going out of Champions League, obviously, that would be around about 67 million. So United have to change their wage structure to try and balance books. Obviously, the new laws about the agents' fees being capped coming in is going to be a big help. 30-odd million spent. I mean, 30-odd million on agents in the season. Obviously, since Felix Ferguson, we spent God knows how much on sacking managers. What's that, 60-odd million?
60-odd,
the money
we're still paying some of them, right? We're still cutting checks.
Probably still paying Mourinho.
Ridiculous.
Mate,
it's ridiculous.
I think Van Gaal pipes up about it being a commercial club, but he's probably still getting a direct debit into his
and he's not wrong. He's not wrong though.
He's doing the loans.
I mean, Dave, outside interference is probably the only way the Glazers will ever change, when they're forced to change, because given the power, they won't, will they, mate? No,
of course not. They have succeeded in every single one of their goals owning this club. And that's the most despicable thing that we all know is true, is that while we sit here and bang on week after week after week after week about the players and the tactics and the squad selection and who's coming in and who's coming out, they sit back there having won every week. And if that doesn't hurt all of us to the point where we all say, you know what, can we put the BS aside and come together and figure out a way to get these leeches out of our club? I don't know what will, other than what you've just said, Adam, which is, authorities higher than them telling them that they have to change.
Exactly.
Well,
yep.
This is it. You're looking at it, you're going, I'm sure that these owners or the powers that be said, look, guys, of all the crap that's going on, we need to actually put on a show against Spurs because Tom Brady's in the house. So can we just make a show for this one tonight? Because we've got a superstar in the house. Do you know what I mean? And lo and behold, our superstar has his best game and then disappears again for another few weeks. I mean, oh God, the problems.
It's the same old problems,
isn't it? It's same problems, not going to go away. I mean, the Glazers, if they employed people like what Dave was saying, they're like Fenway Sports Group do, put people in place that know what they're doing, the best in class, that can actually run a football club and know about football, no one would even worry about what the Glazers were doing.
No.
Because
that's right.
1.2 billion is enough in 10 years to build a team that should challenge on all fronts.
Paul Mitchell, someone said there, Paul Mitchell would be the perfect candidate. But again, the problem is, though, John Myrtle and Darren Fletcher have took them roles that John Myrtle could do. And that's the problem. It's almost as if they've gone in, when you just go in the room and you snatch the thing straight away. They've gone in before anyone else and they've gone in early access. Boom. We've got them 2 roles now. And it's like, what do we do now then? You know what I mean? Who can come in? There's not roles that you can just create, There isn't roles that you can create, Adam. There isn't. You can't just create a role and say director of director of director or deputy director. There's not. You've got to be one role and let the people that have it do it. But again, it's that feeling of, Nicky Butt was taken off the role. If you're going to tell Nicky Butt to go and leave, at least get a person in who then is better than Nicky Butt or at least experienced in it. But Darren Fletcher comes to the role from Stoke and says, yeah, you know what? You can have this role. Why?
Phelan and Fletcher. I mean, to be fair, the fact that Ralph Rangnick's assistant is his boss tells you everything you need to know about the structure of United staffing. It's what it is.
How is that even possible?
Only at Manchester United, in one of the most valuable football clubs, sports franchises in the world, would you have that scenario ever happening? I mean, good God, it is an absolute shambles upstairs at United. And you know what? They can fix it. Of course they can. If they choose to fix it.
Right.
And you know what? Funnily enough, out of all of this, the Glazers were doing more money if United were winning things on the pitch.
I know.
It is mental. I'm just like, wow. All you would have to do don't go and buy Victor Lindelof instead of Virgil van Dijk because you saved 10 million. Why didn't you go and buy Diaz?
But this whole thing is false. But this whole thing is false, right? Because we sit here and say, oh well, they wanted they wanted Koulibaly, right? The year that they wound up getting Maguire. Right. But they wanted 90 and they wound up paying 80 for, it wasn't something like that.
It was worse than that, Dave. It was Diaz before Maguire.
There you go. Neither here nor there. We all sit here and we say, oh well, they get the second guy on the list because they want to shave 10 million off of the fee. But then we all sit back and say, well, wait a minute, they've spent more than everybody else in the Premier League over the last 10 years. Well, those things collide, right? Those things are not in lockstep with each other. Yes. It makes no sense whatsoever. So there's only one explanation. It's ego. And
arrogance, yeah.
Yeah, it's arrogance because, again, I don't run restaurants. I have no idea how to run restaurants. You could give me all the money in the world to run a restaurant and I wouldn't do it well because it's not what I do.
Yeah.
So simple, it's about who is spending the money just as much as it is how much money is being spent.
And how you spend it, yeah.
I could gladly give Saeed, no disrespect, the best ingredients to make the perfect lasagna in the world. I guarantee you would not be able to make it as well as Gordon Ramsay with them same ingredients.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
simple, mate, isn't it? It's basics, and I do believe Dave's right. It is an arrogance from Manchester United that they won't accept that they've been beaten and how football clubs have run. The blueprints are there in them two teams that just played before. That's how you run football clubs.
And how far
That's
we're
how you
away,
run it.
that's the reality. You know, how far, you know,
Right.
for them to kind of go down and for them to go up, how much is it going to be, the level, the difference? I just don't think it's going to have to take a long time. Things can be fixed, you know, it can be fixed, but it's the point where other clubs, can they decrease in their standards and the way they do things? And that's yeah.
That is it. Niz, it's been a while since I've seen you. Welcome back to the live shows. Sadly, though, it's time to finish. We can talk about United all night, guys. It's been a great show. Comments on point. I can feel your pain in the comments, guys. I really can. You've been at it bang on tonight. Cheers for coming on, everybody. Dave, thanks for coming on, mate. Just give people a shout out to your socials and what you're up to, mate, at the moment.
Yeah, man, you guys can follow me at Yankee DeYoung for my personal stuff. I have some other business stuff. You like that one, don't you?
I do like that one, yeah.
You could find me and my professional stuff at Stadiums for Ants. Some of you guys probably have seen that stuff before. So, yeah, give me a shout. And thank you for having me on, Adam.
Brilliant stuff. Saeed, mate, Saeed TV. Phoning, is it tonight, mate?
No, you know what? I'm taking a break, mate. I was gonna do some content. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be back tomorrow. Straight Jacket podcast with Nordin. I'm just taking a break tonight. I just can't be asked talking about United. I come off random because it's a therapy, but that's enough therapy for me. You know what I mean? Enough therapy.
That is it, guys. I will be back on in 30 minutes' time on United Stands, talking with Ricky, Beth, and Kev. Obviously, Ricky will be a great chat tonight. I know he's already trying to give Matt man of the match.
That one matter. One matter. Yeah. Should have came on earlier.
Matt's man of the match already. I know it. Guys,
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna play a drinking game. Every time Ricky says Mata, I'm gonna have a shot.
Yes, you'll be pissed, mate. It's going to be a top show. Join me there at 8:00, everybody. Cheers for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to Saeed's channel. Do give Dave a follow because his stuff is absolutely mint as well, especially on the Stadiums for Ants. Link on there, guys. He's got loads of stuff going on. Go and look at his stuff. That's it. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Saeed and follow Dave. Give the video a like on your way out, people. Cheers for watching. I'll be back at 8 on the United Stand. Cheers, everybody. Have a good